Hello and good afternoon or good morning, wherever you might be. This is the Bengals UK online tailgate. We've reached week 14 and the game with the Dallas Cowboys, which means only one thing. Well, two things we're probably going to lose. And also B, Andrew Dalton is coming back. The Ginger Prince, the Terracotta Terror is back. The Red Riffel is back at PBS. How exciting is that? In this episode of this weird show, we're going to be giving you some Christmas fun, showing you our what the instalment is for our advent calendar today. We've got some food stuff later on. We should have a pitch side report from PBS coming up from the good captain himself. And we've got our beer recommendations, we've got our betting tips, we've got a reminder about our charity raffle, which is still on. Excuse me, bit of burpee. So yeah, but well, I better stop talking in case more trapped wind becomes untrapped. Peter Daswell is here with me, as is Jamie Rowe. Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Howdy.
How are you doing?
Obviously, slightly.
Mig T, he is there. He looks well, so that's something.
He does. But I mean, Jamie and I will be feeling very sorry for ourselves because our football team.
Oh God.
Your football teams are just absolutely dire. So we can wallow in our own self-pitying company there.
Yeah, I've got the Bengals to cheer me up.
Yeah, exactly.
At least you have that, Jamie. I've been warned that I'm freezing a bit today. So apologies in advance if I just stop and look as though I'm having some sort of stroke. So, and I'm relying on Pete and Jamie to carry the show on. But it's the game today. And do we? I mean, I think we've got a good chance of winning. We'll come on to our predictions later on and go in a bit more in depth into the game. But are you looking forward to this one at all?
No, I've given up looking forward to Bengals games for quite a few weeks at this point. I think we might win it. I think if we do win it, it's going to be accidental. The blueprint for beating Dallas was set by Baltimore, who hit them with a load of lateral speed, and I don't think that we have the capability to do that. I mean, every single time we've tried to run a stretch on offense, we've lost 5 yards.
Yeah, it certainly feels that way. There's just no invention, and I think Dallas is just starting to bounce back a little bit, and that worries me somewhat. While we're at it, let me ask you guys, who is the greatest quarterback you have seen in your time? Is it a pure passer like a Joe Montana or Dan Marino or Elway, or is it a more mobile one like Warren Moon or Michael Vick, or someone more cerebral like Tom Brady? Who's your best ever?
So I'll pin my colours to the mast with Peyton Manning, and certainly that kind of Peyton Manning stretch from about 2004 to 2007, where he was absolutely untouchable.
I think it's an interesting question. We're getting deep into stuff straight off the bat, Pete. Bloody hell. I think you're right to sort of maybe compartmentalize quarterbacks because there are certain types, aren't there? As you said, there's like the cerebral, pure passer guys, but then you've got the gung-ho, your Dan Marinos, your Brett Favres, your, Aaron Rodgers from this generation. And then you've got the cerebral types like your Montanas and your Tom Brady's. And then you've got your runners like your Lamar Jacksons, like your Michael Vicks, all that kind of, But for me, it has to be Montana because I think he was Tom Brady, but he was slightly better. And I know Tom Brady is with an absolute shed loads, but I don't know, maybe it's just the old school in me. I like seeing quarterbacks just drop back and throw the ball, really. I know, like, watching your Vicks and your Lamar Jacksons is just, like, crazy exciting. But for pure longevity, maybe, I think it's probably, for me, Montana. Because, as a Bengals fan back in those days, I had absolutely first-hand knowledge of how good he was, and he was really annoying because he was just so good under pressure. And but saying that, Marino was incredible for just for different reasons. You know what I mean? So, more windy pops again. Yeah, but I have to say, I think the most exciting Bengals quarterback was, if you're talking about Bengals quarterback. Again, you could sort of classify that, put these into little categories. You could put, and I'm putting Joe Burrow in there with the likes of Ken Anderson, because I mentioned.
I've just seen the inactives.
Oh, okay. Well, let's come on to that in a sec.
Yeah.
I think Burrow and Ken Anderson are very similar quarterbacks. They're so precise and accurate. Not huge arms, but just so efficient and so intelligent and very, very good at what they do. I would liken Boomer Esiason to Peyton Manning because Peyton Manning, as you said, Jamie, was a complete quarterback general. Do you know what I mean? He could kind of call plays at the line, and that's what Boomer essentially was doing. And of course, they were both league MVPs. I think Peyton Manning was a league MVP once or twice, wasn't he?
Yep.
So, and then you got, you can lump Carson Palmer in with the really exciting chuck him down the field sort of guys with the big arms. So it's an interesting debate. Pete, you haven't mentioned it yet. What's your feeling on it?
The reason I ask is that I think Peyton Manning is a great shout, and Joe Montana is just. I raised it whilst we're talking about today's game because I just have a sense that the way things have gone this season, the Bengals defense today is going to make Andy Dalton look like a Peyton Manning, look like a Joe Montana. I just know it's going to happen. I mean, if it was a primetime game, we'd still manage to make him look like a John Elway or something like that. So I'm fearing today because I think that they've got a lot on offense and they've got more wide receivers than we can cope with our secondary at the moment. Their O-line is beat up a little bit, but we've not got a pass rush. And so I'm not that optimistic about today. But
Dallas's skill position guys, Zeke Elliott, CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, those guys.
Andy Dalton.
Well, to a lesser extent, but if he's given time, absolutely. Do you know what I mean?
And they've got a tight end in Schultz that always seems to be open. He's not dynamic, but Dalton will love him, and Dalton will find in pockets. I just think that it's every week we find a way of leaving me frustrated during the game. And last week it was the debacle of the benches clearing and all the dust up and the ejection of Boyd, which I thought was grossly unfair, and I just felt really angry, really frustrated at the end. Not least because of the way we play, but I kind of expected that. I'm just wondering this week what it's going to be. Is it going to be a major injury, frustrating, bitter taste at the end of the game, or is it going to be a debacle like the Dolphins? So who knows?
We'll see. Jamie, you've got the inactives. Hit this.
All right. So the inactives this week, Randy Bullock is inactive. So Austin Seifert is going to get his first game.
Wow.
Michael Jordan's out as well, and then Brandon Wilson's out. But I think we knew that already.
Yeah.
And then it's just the two guards, Finney and Sutherland. But no Randy today.
So
do you think that could be it for Randy then, or are they just doing a Dalton on him and just seeing what Seifert's got?
Well, I think we've got to see what Seifert's got. I'm not 100% sure that he's going to be any answer at all, but he's on the roster. He's been on the roster for 12 weeks now, so we'll see what's up with him.
I'm almost disappointed because I've just got used to it's become a bit of a catchphrase. And let's guess who else is inactive this week. It's Austin Seifert. But yes, that is a surprise. I thought they'd stick with Randy for a little bit longer, but this.
Maybe
right. Sorry, Pete. Carry on.
And I was going to say maybe it's his left calf that's injured.
Or his right one.
Maybe both of them are knackered this week. Mozza in the comments says, wow, end of the Randy era. Duncan Yeadon says, cheerio, Randy.
Oh, poor Randy.
Poor old Randy. BT Vinny says, I hope Andy breaks every single game QB record today, the positive ones. Okay. I mean, that's no surprise over Mike Jordan, is it? He's been having an absolutely torrid time. And I think perhaps that I'm just speculating wildly here, but kind of being in the mix of the whole Joe Burrow injury, that can't have done his confidence a world of good. You know, he must be feeling dreadful about that, right?
Yeah, Dave Lapham mentioned something earlier today that it was his thought that Jordan's plays dropped off a cliff after the Joe Burrow injury. It wasn't great to begin with. He was around about slightly below average in terms of PFF grades. Last week he had 7.1?
Yeah.
For pass protection. That's not good. No. I think sort of a tackle dummy could probably pitch up a 7.1 just from people running into them. So that wasn't good from him. Currently, he's uncuttable because of his contract. His contract's a bit of a difficult one given how far into his career he is. So I don't think we can cut him as of yet. But after next season, I think it's on the cards. He's not offering anything.
The pity of it is that there was a little bit of hope at the end of year one that maybe we found ourselves a guard who's going to kick on and make something. And year two, it's not gone that way. And as you said, his form is going off the edge of a cliff. And you've got to wonder, therefore, whether that's his career. Certainly for the Bengals, whether that's his career. So who else are we going to be playing? I mean, is Suafilo likely to be fit in this game?
Yeah, I assume it's Suafilo and Spain in the middle today. Finney and Sutherland are both inactive. I would have wanted to see what we had with Finney after we had the blockbuster trade for him, just to see what was there. But I don't think it's happening.
Isn't Finney more of a centre?
Centre or guard. Just general interior lineman. To be honest, there's not that much of a difference between the jobs, with the exception that the centre's got to get a snap on target, which some of our centres in the past have struggled with.
Well, I watched a few games over the course of the week from last week, and there are that many centres that have been snapping the ball terribly. I don't remember who it was, where it was always going to the left, so much that the quarterback, when in shotgun, was taking an extra step to the left because the ball was always coming in that direction. So I think we underestimate the confidence that we should have in Hopkins. But Redmond, is he fit?
I don't know. I do hope we don't see him. If that's something.
I would say we're running out of guards, aren't we? I mean, we've got Suafilo, Spain, Price.
Yeah, Price will be there.
I'm kind of quite interested to see how Suafilo does today, because we've not really seen him at all this year, and he was supposed to be an upgrade, and who knows whether he is or not. So on paper, I think anybody other than Mike Jordan will be an upgrade, quite frankly. And that's no disrespect to Mike Jordan, but as we discussed, he's had a real shocker of a time, hasn't he? So Suafilo in Spain at guards seem pretty okay to me, as long as Spain plays in his right position at left guard and Suafilo at right guard, then we shall see.
Suafilo will have something to prove, of course, because the Cowboys have effectively let him go.
Well, indeed, and we've started the show off with a bombshell. Randy Bullock axed, not only benched but inactive. I guess you can't really bench a kicker, can you? You have to you can't have someone on the bench, really. So, Randy Bullock, let us know how you're feeling about the potential end of Fat Randy's time, if that's not too premature to say. But
I think Duncan has another idea for Randy. Randy could play guard. He's big enough.
Absolutely. Well, he might be called into it. Of course, we're only about a week and a half away from Christmas. And as you probably know, if you've been following us on social media, you're watching this on social media, obviously. So you probably are. We've been doing our 3rd annual Advent calendar, and we're on to day 13, Sunday, the 13th of December. So we thought we'd play you today's game day offering.
Good day, Ken Davis from Derby here, wishing Bengals fans around the UK and around the world a very, very happy Christmas. Thought I'd do a Bengals Christmas song for you. You better watch out, you better not cry, you better not doubt, and I'm telling you why. Joey B will win the Super Bowl. And I don't care what the other teams say, cause we've got Joe and a massive hooday, and Joey B will win the Super Bowl. He'll hand it off to Mixon, he'll throw it long for T, he'll drop one short for Tyler Boyd, he'll even kick the PAT. You better not doubt, the Bengals are back, we're gunning for you when we're on the right track. Joey B will win the Super Bowl. Who day?
That was very good.
That was Ken Davis from Derby, and many thanks to Ken. Do you know what? Earlier when that went live on our social channels, his daughter Natalie got in touch because I think Ken tagged her in it, and her response was, "Oh no." So I think Ken's got a reputation for getting his guitar out, perhaps on family gatherings, and embarrassing himself. And now he does it online to the entire world. So his daughter's very proud of him. We've got some messages coming in. Jamie Rowe, you just messaged yourself. It's all gone a bit meta here. Siebert just drilled a field goal from 59 yards in Warmers. Is that right?
Yeah, according to someone on Twitter, I'm kind of keeping up with pre-game updates on Twitter. And apparently, that has happened. So if you can do that in a game, then I'm down with it.
Okay. Teddy Belcher says he's downtown. He's in downtown San Francisco, smoking in a hotel, living his best life there. I would say. Pete, you also had another conundrum for us, didn't you? Before we get into our food stuff.
Well, I saw this a couple of days ago, and I thought this nice topic to think about. So, we know from previously when the NFL expanded and new franchises came in, there were rules that allowed you to protect a certain number of your players, and then a certain number had to be put up to be picked by the new franchise. So the question was, when a new team comes into the NFL and you have to protect 10 Bengals, who are you picking? Now, I think perhaps it might be an idea to do this at season end, or about season end. So assume that we have re-signed the players that we want to re-sign, and so therefore, which are the players do we want the most, and we're going to protect the most? So what do you reckon? 10 of them?
Well, I had trouble getting to 10. I have to say, I got 8 definites.
I think there are some shoo-ins that all three of us will say. So, Jamie, go ahead. What are your your 8?
So the 8 definites were Burrow, Higgins, Boyd, Jonah Williams, Jackson, Lawson, Bates, and Mixon.
Oh, interesting. So there's 2 free agents coming up.
There's 2 free agents in there, and I think we have to hold on to both.
I think you've got to throw Reader.
Oh, Reader.
Yeah,
I forgot about Reader. All right, let's stick Reader in there, and I can get rid of one of my dodgier 2. Let's get rid of you.
Suggest Hopkins, and I like McKenzie, so I might put McKenzie. I've seen other people put Trey Waynes in there, but we don't know what he is.
Yeah.
But given our paucity in offensive linemen that we can be confident in, I think everyone again just takes Hopkins for granted. He's fine. He's solid. He might want to just stick with him. He's getting a good connection with Burrow. So I think I'd put Hopkins in there.
Yeah, definitely Higgins. Well, let's quarterback Burrow, obviously. Higgins has had a terrific rookie season. Boyd is one of the best players in his position in the entire league. I don't think there's any doubt about that. So that's 3. I'd probably go Mixon, but I'm from the camp of not overvaluing running backs, basically. But Mixon is a star. Granted, and we don't have many stars at the moment. Jonah Williams, I think definitely, because you want him to be whatever side he ends up with, depending on who we draft next year. You want him to be a bookend, whether right or left. So that's 5. Reader, definitely. I think he's again one of the best players in his position in the league. So that's cool.
Finley. No, sorry.
Yeah. Jesse Bates, obviously, he is the best safety in football at the moment. So that's 7. Who else are we looking at then? So if you add in William Jackson and Carl Lawson and Mackenzie Alexander, there's an argument for Von Bell. I think he's come on in the last couple of weeks. It's weird to me that we're not having this conversation and automatically putting in AJ Green and Geno Atkins.
I know.
After 10 years, if you'd have asked this question every year for the past 10 years, I think you would have had both of those guys like before Burrow and Higgins or whoever. But it's a weird season, man. And Dunlap, obviously, would be in there, you would imagine. Dalton as well. But yeah, just the fact that, Geno and AJ are still on the team, but, just mere ghosts of themselves, really. It's such a shame, man. Absolutely such a shame. So, it tells you everything that you kind of struggle to get to 10 names, I think. That tells you that really does tell you about everything about the team at the moment, I think.
As a dark horse, Brandon Wilson. Brandon Wilson.
Brandon Wilson, yeah.
A good return is important. I want to see more of him on D. See if he can be much more than special teams. But a good returner who scares the opposition every time they kick it, that's worth its weight in gold. Maybe
I
not.
might want to see him on offense. He has played running back in the past. He played running back in college. And I think that there could be a role there for him. He's certainly good with the ball in his hands.
Yes. I'm not convinced as a running back because I'm not sure that I would want him to take the punishment that the running back does. And we've got 4, haven't we? One that we're not using, and when Mixon's there, Mixon's almost the only one we do use. So I'm not sure we need running back. But if you're telling me that Brandon Wilson can't do everything that Erickson does, then I won't believe you. I mean, Erickson, Wilson can catch. Wilson could do jet sweeps and everything, I think.
Yeah, Teddy Belcher's been messaging almost incessantly. No problem, Terry. Keep them coming. Google Finley Market. Yes, I have been to Finley Market, Teddy, up in over the Rhine. It's marvellous. Excellent spice store up there. Anyway, I would also perhaps add on the fringes Logan Wilson. And
I had him in mind. How long have we struggled for linebackers?
And also maybe if he continues his development, well, Drew Sample maybe.
Yeah, I'm down with Drew Sample.
The past couple of years, I think Pratt's taken a step back this year. I have to say, or at least he hasn't come on as much as you hoped he would do.
Yeah, but the interesting thing is Josh Bynes is on a 1 year. So is he going to be re-signed, or are they going to say no? Wilson, you're the full-time middle linebacker alongside Pratt next year?
tricky. Or some big decisions this off season, I think. I kind of, we need some more talent on the team. That's just basically it. And if they do what they did last year in free agency and have another strong draft, then I do think we're going to be okay. And obviously, if Burrow comes back, fit and healthy, which I'm sure he will do, then who knows?
I mean, I don't want to make excuses, Paul, but because every team had injuries. But let's face it, we've had injuries at very, very key positions. We spent a lot of money in free agency, and the cornerback to go alongside the opposite side to William Jackson never sees the field of play. We spent a lot of money to shore up against the run, and Reader plays I can't remember, 4 games, 5 games. Gino, have we barely even seen Gino? And then we moved to offense. Burrow's gone down. We've had Mixon missing for the last 4 games. Injuries have been in key positions, and it'd be dead easy to make an excuse and say, "Oh, it's down to injuries." We know it's a hell of a lot more than that. But it does make you wonder if we could just have a run of even 4 or 5 games with absolutely everyone. Just how good can we be, or how bad can the coaches mess it up?
Well, there's another question I think we should perhaps leave for another day. Paul Dana Jr. has just tweeted that it's 4 years to the day that Randy Bullock unseated Mike Nugent for the starter kicker job, I should say, on the Bengals. There's wow, that's quite crazy, isn't it?
4 glorious years.
And 4 glorious years, yeah.
3 years when he unseated the draft pick, Jake Elliott.
Yep. Anyway, we shan't talk about that, will we? Okay, we're going to be talking a bit more about Andy Dalton in a second. Let's bring in our resident beer expert. If you're looking for some quality ales over Christmas or to drink yourself silly with after another Bengals defeat, then listen to Moz.
Hello, Bengals Nation. Moz here with 2 new beers for you guys to try. Even though I was promoting that I was going to do more Christmassy beers, I have actually found 2 beers for game day. Obviously we need them right now with how the Bengals are, but that's life. But the first beer is a 6.5% New England IPA. It is from Wild Horse. We're based in Llandudno in North Wales, so relatively local to me here. 6.5%. It's based on a series. They do a series called Tramcar. This is the 7th different variant of this beer, and this one has Chinook Galaxy Mosaic. So with this beer, you can expect grape and a bit of peach and passion fruit, and a bit of berry, pine, them type of flavours. With it being a New England IPA, it'll be very little bitterness. It'll be juicy and good body to it and stuff like that. They're a good brewery. Obviously, you can get them quite readily available around here. Whether you can get it nationally that easy, I don't know. But they are on national delivery websites that sell beer. You're talking roughly about £5 a can. But yeah, good brewery. Well worth checking out. The second beer I recommend, and Don's Hoko are making another appearance. This time they are in collaboration with North Brewing, and it's literally called Dark Lager. It's 4.5%. Price wise, you're talking about £5 again. I presume you can get from the website to both. I'm not sure, but they are nationally available again. And with this it's a little bit different. I've had a few dark lagers, and obviously Dunkel is a type of dark lager. If you had gin and dark lagers and stuff like that, this one is a bit more on the stouty side. It's got this burnt flavour and a bit of that burnt caramel and a bit of licorice, a bit of smokiness in there. It's them type of flavours, really. But it has got that refreshing lagery lightness to it as well. But it looks like a stout, it really does. And but yeah, it's something different, something we're checking out, you know. I think it will split the crowd a little bit. To some people, I think a lot of people will enjoy it, but there will be some naysayers with it. But, you know, for the price and that, something different, why not? That's what life's about, trying something new. And yeah, that's that. Talking about the game. Last week's was the drivelling shit of a game. It was absolutely dreadful from both teams and the referee. Well, the officials, not just the referees, obviously. The officials, it was just awful game to watch. First off, wasn't too bad, and then from the pathetic ejection in the first half, he kind of nosedived, to be honest. He definitely did for the Bengals performance. Another dreadful second half performance. Miami, pretty comfortable then. You got to kick up the arse from Flores. But they weren't a great team, Miami. I was quite surprised. I've seen them a bit. That's one of the worst I've seen them, to be honest. And we got Dallas. You know, I think they aren't much better than us. They really aren't. They shouldn't be. You've got some really nice pieces, but they just don't seem to be clicking. And obviously they've got injury issues and stuff. But yeah, I can see them winning this. Just because I think we are, you know, right now, I think we might be the worst team in the NFL right now. I think the Jets, you know, are actually giving it a go. Jags have been relatively close pretty much all season, even with Jake Luton and now Glennon as well. They aren't the other team that doesn't get battered. They took our role. But right now we are dreadful to watch, really poor. But that's that. It's Sunday. Christmas is nearly here. Hooday.
Well, many thanks to Mars there and his cheery conclusion. Without further ado, we have someone very special waiting for us live from Full Brown Stadium. It is, of course, Bengals captain Jeremy. Hello, Captain. Good day to you, my friend. How's it going there? Tell us what's it like there today? What's the weather?
Once again, happening? Perfect football weather. It's cool. It's cloudy. You know, we can watch the field without sunglasses. Music's blaring. Players are loose. We're feeling good. Got to say hi to Andy already. Went over to the other side of the stadium and gave him a wave, and he waved back.
Cool.
Good day.
We're going to be talking about Andy Dalton in a second, Jeremy, but tell us what he meant to you and what kind of guy he was, and you know, you've had personal interaction with him. Do you? Well, there you go. Do you still miss him, or I mean, how are you feeling about Andy Dalton right now?
You know what? It's good to see him get the chance. For me, he was a real underdog story. You know, he came into the league second round. A lot of people didn't think we were going to win any games that season, and then we rattled off five trips to the playoffs. So, you know, he was a lightning rod for criticism. A lot of it, I think, unfair. Some of it misguided. You know, I think there was some criticism that could be had about really any of us. So there was some valid, but he was a great player, but an even better human being. You know, the fact that his wife reached out to me to send a signed game ball and thank me for being a good fan. Players, families, I don't know. I still don't know what to say to that. You know, they really appreciate their fans. They really, really want to do work to help out their community. And, you know, I don't care what anybody says. He was a competitor on the field. So, you know, I miss him, but it's good to see him doing well. It's good to see him, you know, still making money. Foundation's doing well. His family's doing well. So,
yeah, you have a feeling that, I mean, Finley and Brandon Allen haven't lit up the game this year. So you have a feeling that there might be an Andy Dalton reunion at some point in the future if he's willing to go somewhere where he's not got a guaranteed starting role.
You know what? Hey, I would be open to it. I know there were people in the beginning who were definitely not open to it, but he is the perfect. He's intelligent. You set him in the right system. You give him his reads. He can execute. He's a perfect backup. I still think he can be a good starter, but it would be just insane if we could get him on a team-friendly contract to back up Burrow. We'd be set. Now, I've said before, I'm not a huge fan yet of quality backups because we're not built, in my opinion, to make that run if Burrow goes down. Now, the teams that are, they can go out and get that quality backup. I'm cheering for a win all the time. Don't get me wrong. I'm cheering for a win. But I'd rather get a better draft pick to build the team to then one day get that quality backup like Philadelphia Eagles behind a monster offensive line, behind a great running game, behind a great defense, and then Nick Foles helps them win it all. We're not there yet.
Yeah, I get that, but experienced backup can only be sometimes 3-4 million a year. I think you get what Dalton got. When you've got a mentor off the pitch as well for someone young like Burrow, a Fitzpatrick or Dalton would be worth a weight in gold. If you're only going to be 4 million, I say only, but 4 million you can find easily because there's plenty of money in that roster that's just not anything. So I think we're showing this year that we do need someone who can. How many times quarterbacks go down? The fact that Dalton's playing today, so many teams have gone to backup. So I think we need someone a little bit better than what we've got.
What kind of reception is Andy getting around the stadium today, Jeremy? Is people kind of giving him the respect he deserves and kind of giving him a good reception?
I don't know if you can see it. If I can get this right here, can you see a 14 up there?
Ooh, it's a bit in a distance, but yeah.
I could probably run up there and get a close up and scare the lad, but no, I see a lot of 14s around here. I've seen a lot of Bengals fans and the other end of the stadium saying hi to him, so he's got a great reception. And right now, the Pro Shop, Andy Dalton, Carlos Dunlap, and Tyler Eifert's jerseys are $20.
Oh, wow. That's actually quite good marketing from the Bengals, I think, actually. Well, Jeremy, just give us one last spin at the stadium and we'll let you go and enjoy your pre-game activities. Only 50 minutes to go until kickoff, so...
Anybody getting dizzy yet?
Man, what a handsome place it is. Look at that. See, this is when I always go weak-kneed when Jeremy shows me the field and the fans. Oh, I wish I was there. Jeremy, once again, we've only got one more time since we do this, but it's lovely to have you on again. We really do appreciate it. It gives all our fans in the UK.
And a special shout-out to Dockers. I love you, man. I got that card. You son of a gun. Merry Christmas. I love you.
Do you want to explain what Dockers sent to you? Because I think Jess mentioned it on Twitter today.
I'll post a picture, but it's a Joe Mixon card, and he really shouldn't have. And it means a lot. All of you mean a lot. Like this team and the friendships and the bonds. You know what? I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. I appreciate you guys so much.
It's right back at you, mate. It's lovely to see you and hear from you again. And if anything, this weekly, almost weekly online tailgate lets us talk to you on a weekly basis and see you again because, you know, how cool is that? Anyway, enjoy the game today. Cheer on Andy for us, but not too loudly. And we'll speak to you soon, mate.
All right, Houday.
There we go. There he is, the man himself, Jeremy, Bengals captain. And I mean it. Every time he shows me the stadium, I tend to melt a little bit. It's like, oh, man, I wish I was there. Oh.
Just on the reaction we can expect for Dalton, I do hope it's a little bit like when we went, it was preseason, wasn't it? We went up to Buffalo the year after our win against the Ravens sent Buffalo to the playoffs for the first time in 17 years, I think it was. And the reaction that Dalton got from the Buffalo fans was just wonderful. I hope what few fans Bengals will have in there compared to Buffalo that year, I hope that Dalton gets the same reaction from the Bengals fans.
I wanted to ask about Dalton. I'm going to be honest, I think you've heard me on the podcast say that I've never been a huge lover of Andy Dalton. I don't know why, but it's all subjective, isn't it? People, you love some players, you can't explain why. You hate some players, you can't explain why, and somewhere in between. What did you think of Andy Dalton, and what do you think of him now?
Go for it, Jamie.
Yeah, I think at the time, we were coming off the back of Carson Palmer basically going on strike, and Andy surpassed expectations in his rookie year. He was a good guy, he's a good quarterback. He was never going to win games on his own, I don't think. And, there's a lot of good times then. There were a lot of playoff runs. But I think it was right that we moved on from him. But I do have an awful lot of time for him. And as I pointed out, I'd be happy to have him back in case something happens to Burrow again.
I always thought of him as a facilitator. When surrounded by talent, he got the job done. He looked good. He looked better than good. So 2015, the talent around him, that O-line, the people to pass it to, the defense, and we were good with the ball in his hands when he's surrounded by talent. But when we were not quite so talented, he couldn't elevate other people's games. That was the problem. I don't want to use the phrase game manager, but he became much more like a game manager. He didn't take the game by the scruff of the neck and say, no, I'm your quarterback. You're paying me tens of mils. I'm going to win this game for you. He couldn't do that without all that talent around him. But, and this is the point that Captain made there, as a person, he's absolutely top notch, and I think you'll find it impossible to discover anyone in the NFL who's come across him who has anything bad to say about him. Talent wise, okay, different, but as a person, I think he's right up there.
Indeed. Well, so welcome back to Andy today. Let us know in the comments what you think of Andy Dalton. Are you pleased to see him back? Will you be cheering him on? Because there is an element or dimension to this game that if we've got very similar records, if we win today, Dallas will leapfrog us into third position in the draft selection chart. So they desperately need an offensive line too. So there is some stuff at stake here today. Mozza says Dalton was a solid QB, but to push on, we needed better. Now let's talk about food. As we're approaching Christmas, and there's been some extraordinary things happening in the land of food. Pete, you posted this the other day just to give our American friends a little look at how we view food. I've looked through there, and the God tier, Yorkshire pudding. You agree with that?
Right. Oh, okay. I have words. I have words to say about black pudding.
All right.
We're not having that in crap tier. And also steak and kidney pudding. Come on.
Yeah.
That needs to be up there.
I mean, it's very difficult, isn't it? I mean, Yorkshire puddings definitely, Sunday roast definite, fish and chips, yeah. Crumpets, I'm not sure about God tier. Full English, probably. Bacon sandwich, I wouldn't agree because I'm a vegetarian, but I'm sure the majority of people would agree. The top tier bangers, you'd have black pudding in that top tier, would you, or the mid tier?
It'd be up there. I mean, obviously, a full English breakfast isn't a full English breakfast without black pudding on it. So, it's already automatically in there. But in and of itself, yeah, definitely.
I'm very pleased Welsh rarebit has sneaked in there into the mid tier. That's a very underrated thing. That is. I mean, it's mostly meat, so I don't really have an opinion on that kind of stuff. So it's very difficult. However, speaking of Pete's disappeared. Speaking of Scotch eggs, you might have seen the Scotch eggs in there. Here's a massive one. A man called John Fell in Cumbria made an enormous Scotch egg weighing 1 stone 7 pounds, which
Jeez Louise.
basically over 30 pounds. It measured 18 inches in diameter. That's a big Scotch egg. And there's John about to deep fry that massive ball of meat and egg.
Wow.
He said, "It's no secret that I love a good Scotch egg." Really, John? I couldn't wouldn't have known. As to whether I think they can be classified as a substantial meal, if they're big as
that one can be.
Oh yeah, I think as big as that. Of course, there's lots of debate about Scotch eggs at the moment because of COVID restrictions and pubs and whatnot over here in the UK. Now, as we approach before Christmas, Pete's back, so let's bring him in. Pete, you just missed a massive Scotch egg that weighs over 1 stone.
Oh, wow. Oh,
that should keep you going for a little bit.
yeah.
Now, as Christmas approaches, we're getting some more and more absurd Christmas stuff. And next week is going to be our Christmas episode of this tailgate. So stand by for lots of Christmas stuff. Not sure whether we're going to have that on the Sunday night, because at the moment the Bengals are slated to play on Monday night. But really, Steelers, Bengals, Monday night? It's not. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if it's flexed back into Sunday somehow. But so we'll keep you informed. Subway over here are doing a 6 foot long sub that has a pig. It's a pig in blanket sub.
Oh, good grief!
6 foot long.
Yeah, I haven't got nothing big enough to stick that in.
I know, right? It seems a bit dull. Also, Asda are doing a foot long chocolate eclair, which I am very down with indeed. I must say, I could quaff that quite easily, I think. And this one, Jamie, I think did you send this one at some stage?
Oh no, I haven't. But I mean, that looks like something that I'd approve of.
So there's
good grief, that's a lot of chips.
Right, so you've got a Yorkshire pudding filled with chips.
It needs gravy. It needs lots of gravy.
And you can see in that bottom right-hand corner there is a tub of gravy there, I think. More chips.
Yeah,
and
but that's for dippers, isn't it? Because the gravy is not spread over. That's to dip in.
Right. And then there's that battered thing, that battered truncheon-like thing in the middle is a giant pig in blanket. I think it's a foot long pig in blanket.
Wow.
Don't know, man. That seems to be like Heart Attack City, really. There's a lot of carbs going on there. A lot of carbs. And I can safely say I've never had a giant Yorkshire pudding filled with chips before. Maybe it's time to start. I don't know.
It's a vessel to contain them. That's all it is.
Indeed, it is a vessel.
Jimmy, when you're at the chip shop, are you a battered sausage or unbattered sausage?
I will tend to go unbattered sausage. Unfortunately, due to a few doctor's appointments this week, I've been banned from the chippy, so that's a bit of a bum note to end on. But I don't like a battered sausage over an unbattered sausage usually.
Yeah, I asked Jamie because Paul, you're vegetarian. When it's typically British fish and chips. When you're in there, what do you order?
Well, I guess I'm a pescatarian, so I will have cod and chips. Although, if Brexit, actually no, let's not go down the cod Brexit line.
I have some whelks.
Yeah, I'll have a tub of whelks. No, I don't mind a fish cake. I might have a pie, cheese and onion pie with my chips. I quite like that. Maybe some curry sauce, maybe some gravy as well. Who knows? Who knows what I'm feeling? Right, it's coming up to 10 minutes until we sod off, and we've got some better. It's time for our predictions, basically. So fire in your predictions. Let us know how you're feeling about the game today. Who's going to be pivotal for the Bengals today? Are you looking forward to seeing Andy Dalton please do get in touch. And while you're thinking about that, let's bring in our betting expert, Adam.
Good afternoon, Bengals fans. There's 4 games left this season. We host the Dallas Cowboys, giving Andy Dalton a chance to get one final win at Paul Brown Stadium after he was unceremoniously dumped last year. It's a game that we really can't win. We need to keep that 3rd pick to try and get Penny Sewell, hopefully, next year, or at least have the trade bait to move back in the draft. I hope we keep the pick and get Sewell, because apparently he's a generational left tackle, and obviously that's what we need. I don't think we're going to win. Frankly, I don't think we're going to put up a fight. The second half of games this year has been terrible. The last 3 games, we've scored 10 points in the second half of them. I don't think we're going to score more than 20 points, even though the Cowboys defense is terrible. And I think they'll probably score 28 plus against us. So unfortunately, I don't think we're covering the spread. I don't think we're going to win. Sorry. If you do think that we're going to do well, then receiving lines for T. Higgins is 50.5. He's been questionable all week with an injury, but looks like he's going to play. Personally, I'd probably take the under on him. Tyler Boyd, he didn't get suspended for that mess last week, which he shouldn't have done because he didn't really do anything. 55.5, his receiving line. Really, we need to get Gio going on the ground, but I said that last week, and we didn't really do it last week. The Cowboys allowed 300-odd yards to the Ravens last week, which is ridiculous. So really, you got to think that we should be able to get P. Ryan going at 22.5 rushing yards, or Bernard at 56.5 rushing yards. I really don't know what to make of us in this game. I think there's a possibility it's really high scoring. There's also a possibility we get killed, because Brandon Allen obviously isn't great, and if Ryan Finley has to come in, it's even worse. So, who day, Bengals fans? Let's just get through the last 4 games, hopefully no more injuries, and see how it goes. Who day?
That was a nice little beat.
Yeah, thanks for that optimistic segment, Adam. But more interestingly, that door opened at the end, and I want to know what opened it. What kind of ghost opened it? Martin Rangsvier. No, hold on. Ravenskier. Is that how you spell it, Martin? Houday from Denmark. And a Houday to you, my friend. Denmark, what a wonderful country. Your dad, Jamie, just said hashtag GPG, but we won't dwell too much on that.
I mean, they could clinch the playoffs today,
they could.
which is something that we used to have. Yes, we did, didn't we? About 5 years ago, and the 5 years previously. Anyway, let's concentrate on today's game. We've got about 5 or so minutes left. Pete, how you feeling, Bear? What's your prediction for today?
Not optimistic. I just want to enjoy the game. I don't want to be left with too much of a bitter taste at the end of the game. I expect a loss, but I don't want it to be bad. I've got 24-10 to the Cowboys. I don't know how our touchdown's going to come, but 24-10 I've got.
Jamie, what about you?
I have 21-10 Cowboys. Much the same idea. I don't see us getting anything going, and I don't see us stopping anything. But Dallas are as bad as us, so we can at least kind of rely on some level of incompetence from that side.
It's a weird one. I listened to before I just talk about what I think. This picture appeared on the Bengals feed. Look at that. 2 old chums chatting merrily away. I wonder what they're saying to each other. Any ideas?
I'm a wide receiver. Get me out of here.
Yeah. There's life on the outside.
Yeah. Zach Taylor's anyway. Right.
A coach. He's a coach.
Zach Taylor's a coach. That's what I was going to say.
I'm sure.
I listened to hear that podcast Granny last week, and they had that, as they do in the episode preceding the game each week, they tend to get their equivalent, the opponent's equivalent on the Athletic on to chat about the opposing team. And the guy from Dallas came on. He was really interesting. He said basically that no one really knows what's kind of happened out there. Basically, Mike Nolan came in with a defensive coordinator with Mike McCarthy, And basically, the players haven't bought into Mike Nolan's scheme. It was a pretty solid 4-3 system under Jason Garrett. And Mike Nolan's changed that into a more of a hybrid kind of 4-3-3-4, everything in between. And those guys really hate it. And some players just not. The Dallas guy, the Dallas Athletic guy, actually questioned the effort. And I was thinking, yep, that sounds kind of familiar. Not necessarily in terms of effort, but in terms of we used to be a pretty solid, defined 4-3 team, and Lou's come in and tried to add some flexibility. Not everyone has bought into that, it's fair to say. Then he started talking about the offensive line and said, look, they've had injury after injury, and they've not been able to put on the same unit every week. Players have been playing out of position. It's been a revolving door. Practice squad players have been called up, and I was thinking, yeah, that sounds familiar again. So it sounds as though like we are two very similarly bad teams for similar reasons, actually. So I don't know how it's going to go today. They're really bad against the run, but we can't run the ball. So I don't know, and we need to run the ball if we have any hope of winning any games this season. We need to not rely on Brandon Allen to throw the ball 30 times a game, because he's just not good enough. Can we run the ball? I don't know. Probably not, because we haven't been able to for the past 2 years, more or less. Defensively, we might be okay. But as you guys said earlier, if you give Andy Dalton time, then he can still do a job, and he's got the skill position guys there, to do some damage. So, yeah, I think Dallas is going to win something like 21-10. But how about Austin Siebert kicking a last-minute 59-yarder to win the game, to seal the deal? How would you feel about that?
I mean, it would be something else. I can't help but see this game, though, as the Battle of Sewell, because I'm sure the Cowboys would love Sewell on that O-line. We would love Sewell. If you think that quarterbacks are going to go 1 and 2, we're currently 3, Dallas 4. Yeah, if we're going to win a game, one game is probably all we're going to win the rest of the season, sadly. So this could be the battle for Sewell today.
Indeed. Well, that's about it for this week. Just to remind you that we are still running our charity raffle competition. So if you want to tip in, you can find all the details on our social media feeds. I'll be hammering this week because you've got until the 17th to apply. We're raising money for Action for Children's Secret Santa initiative, which is basically providing vulnerable and underprivileged kids with presents for Christmas, and also, if not presents, a meal on Christmas Day, or perhaps even something as drastic and as important as a roof over their head. So if you do want to go, if you don't fancy the prizes, go in and give what you can. It's £2.50 a ticket. We obviously want to raise as much money as we can, but at the same time, we realise that it's been a very tough year financially for loads of people. So if you want to give, fantastic. If not, tell your friends. Let's just give you. It's this signed poster. This is on actually eBay. So it's from the Nashville draft in 2019. And it's produced by Hatch Show Print, the legendary Nashville print shop. It's signed by pretty much all the rookies from 2019. So Jonah's there, Jermaine Pratt's there. Someone's trying to sell it on eBay for £400 at the moment.
Ryan Finley tried to sell it, but he missed.
Well, yeah. Although he tried to sell it, it just didn't quite get there, did it? Really?
Got intercepted.
Yeah. We've got an unsigned version of that poster to give away as well. We've got a Bengals a cap as well. So do go and as I say, if you don't even fancy the prizes, if you want to tip in, I say each ticket's only £2.50. So if you want to go and tip in some money, if you can afford it, that would be fantastic. Details will be on our social media feeds pretty much every day until the closing date, which is next Friday. Any more business, chaps, or shall we leave it there for today?
I think that's enough for today. Let's just try and get through this all together.
Okay, well, Nathan and I will be back not tomorrow night, but on Tuesday night. We have a really cool special guest in the lead up to Christmas. So I'll talk to you then. These guys will probably be around next week in our sort of Christmas themed, I'm not quite sure what yet, episode of the Tailgate. So thanks for watching and enjoy the game today. Who knows what's going to happen, but the Ginger Prince is back.